Welcome back to Breakfast with the Arts. We're here at the world-renowned Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, home to over 2 million works of fine art. But 40 blocks away from Fifth Avenue's Museum Mile, you'll find a humble building that's home to another sort of art, the work of Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hertz, founders of Troma Entertainment.
This is the nerve center of the Troma building. We do all the marketing and distribution here. This is some of the stuff from Tales from the Crapper over here, some of the beautiful high-tech props. Up there are some of the many awards that Troma has won over the years. And actually, you can meet some of the employees. These are some of the Troma employees. That man is working over there. And there's some more from some of the Troma movies, Class of Nukem High, Terra Firma, Citizen Toxie. Here is some more test props from Poultrygeist. This is some of the high-tech special effects things that we're testing. But don't tell any of the major studios. Don't tell George Lucas about this. And then, of course, here is one of the tricks we have is we use these instead of actors because you save a lot of money. Here's a Troma costume. Look at that, 30 years. Troma 30 years. This lady has come all the way down from the 4th floor from Troma Team Video. And Troma functions like a movie studio, actually like a movie studio. If you talk into here, what are you involved in? Talk toward the camera.
I work in promotions and marketing.
And for what do you market?
Our DVDs.
Ah, and what's coming out this month, just as an example?
Oh, Madigan's Millions, which is Dustin Hoffman's first movie, and The Wedding Party, which is Robert De Niro's first movie, and Brian De Palma's as well.
And why did you happen to pick those two together this particular month?
Because Meet the Fockers is coming out in just tomorrow.
Troma's brilliant. It's a Troma Team Video. How smart is that? Wow. That's why we're still in business. We have smart young people. Troma's been around for 30 years. We've made about 100 movies, and we own about 1,000 movies. But the movies that I personally have been involved in, writing and directing, tend to get their themes from the newspapers. So Samuel Fuller was a big influence on me in that regard. He was a newspaper man. And that's one nice thing about being an independent filmmaker and an independent studio, is that you can do movies that are ripped from the newspapers. Class of Nukem High, that dealt with these nuclear power plants that were being built with shoddy materials. While we were premiering Class of Nukem High at the Cannes Film Festival, the dust from Chernobyl was blowing over the south of France. So we certainly were movies of the future in that case. Also, the movies of Chaplin. If you look at Toxic Avenger, you see there's Toxie has as a significant other is a blind gyno. She cannot see. That's obviously from Chaplin's City Lights, as well as Tromaville. Our movies take place in Tromaville. All these characters in Tromaville are they're Preston Sturges. Obviously, the films of John Ford and Hawks and Renoir and Fritz Lang and Warhol. Troma breaks the fourth wall constantly. During my sophomore year at Yale, I left to go to the bush, as it's called, of Chad. Chad is in Central Africa. There were some amazing fêtes in French. They're not really festivals. These are local events with people in masks and weird, again, I was 18, 19 years old, so I'm sure anthropologically they're meaningful. To me, they just look like something out of an acid trip. So I think a lot of that stuff stayed in my brain, and some of the, we're big on masks at Troma, obviously. We had to get our own food, and I saw them slaughter a pig, and I filmed it. I had my 16-millimeter movie camera with me, and a Bolex, a little wind-up Bolex, and I filmed the slaughtering and butchering of a pig. And then when I came back to the States, I showed it to my family and some friends, and they really got pissed off. And I think that that moment that gave me a big high. Our movies have been extremely original, and we've been fortunate enough to attract really talented people.
Just had a real streak of bad luck.
So you have to go down to the one place where there's life, the beach, the dock.
Run, run, run! Let that book run!
Psychosomatic. It's psychosomatic, sir. If you will permit me.
LA women seem to be very impressed with money, so I like to keep a very low profile.
Troma is a great stepping stone for somebody like Vincent D'Onofrio to get his first part. Or Samuel L. Jackson, whose first film is Death by Temptation.
As is common to man.
When I first saw Cannibal the Musical, you know, nobody wanted that movie, but it was brilliant. I mean, you could see this is a brilliant movie. And we were the only ones. This Troma was the only one that saw the talent of Trey Parker and Matt Stone. And then eventually, they, of course, broke out with a little thing called South Park.
The blood of a fresh-cut rodent is as sweet as brandied wine, and the brain of an antelope tastes like cantaloupe. What a yummy life! Yo-ho! Yo-ho! Rip their fur, cut their eyes out with my knife. Yo-ho! Yo-ho!
Oh, stop!
I think one of the reasons that Troma has lasted for 30 years is that we do what you're not supposed to do. My partner and I happened to be looking through the trade papers, and it was Variety. One of the headlines said, horror films no longer commercial, they're no good, blah, blah, blah. That's our hit. We're going to make a horror film. So that's, again, it took about a year before I could get a project that I could really get behind. Or that had enough behinds in it, and it turned out to be the Toxic Avenger. The reason that the Toxic Avenger is a good guy is that Michael Herz and I always liked Frankenstein, but we always wanted Frankenstein to live. We always we always felt so terrible that the villagers always came after him with those horrible torches, and so Toxie we determined would live. Not only would he live, but he'd be the hero of the movie. He would be Chaplin. He would be the little tramp, except instead of a cane, he's got a mop. He's a very human superhero, and I think that this underdog quality of Toxie probably, and the fact that he's quite a good lover and is very loyal to his significant other, I think that people enjoy that.